Jackman will never escape Logan. Only death can save him now.
Not until he's 90.
Hi, hello. Welcome to another episode of Tea and Toffees, a twice monthly podcast. I'm your host, Nightshade. How do you do?
How do you do? I'm the other host, Cecilia.
Are you?
Hello.
You sure?
Well, not really. It's maybe for a future episode.
Technically, you are the other host. You just don't really say stuff.
Yes, but you have most of the talking. So
it didn't start. Really? We expected it to always be this way. It didn't actually start out this way. Somehow,
yes,
I'm still surprised at our early episodes. You talk so much, Cecilia. But yeah, Cecilia she believes to have been a witch in her previous life, but there's no proof.
Yes, and you believe to be an undead demon that is very old.
Look at me.
For which I do have proof, actually.
Yes. Just look at me.
Horns. Halo. Yes.
Can a human make
Not
body
really
modifications?
human.
No. A human cannot do that.
No.
I can do that. Also, if you shoot me in the head, I will not die, but please don't shoot me in the head. That's uncomfortable.
Yeah, I can imagine. I won't do that. Don't worry.
Okay, part 2 of X-Men, because we simply can't be concise. Part 1 is linked in the description. Last time we talked, we had some background overview. Zia talked a bit. Comics, Jarek, and then we started the interlude to recap a first trilogy in Wolverine's side adventures with commentary I was too lazy to sort into categories, and now we continue with the interlude to recap the Reboot films and Deadpool with more commentary I was too lazy to sort into categories, and then InCOnsIsTEnCiEs. That's gonna be a huge chunk. Let's go.
InCOnsIsTEnCiEs.
Let's go. Reboot. X-Men First Class from 2011. One sentence summary. We get the origins of the X-Men and Magneto, featuring young Jarek road trip and young Jarek beach divorce.
Very painful beach divorce. Also, that were 2 sentences.
No, that's 1 sentence.
No. 1 sentence?
That is 1 sentence.
That was a long sentence.
Yes, but it's 1.
It was more than 3 words.
It's a 1 sentence summary. I can't help it if the Dark Phoenix stuff is badly enough to make me put it into 4 words. No, 3 words. No, 4 words. Wait, it's actually 4 words, not 3. Because Dark Phoenix is 2 words.
Dark Phoenix.
Dark Phoenix done badly is 4 words. Oh, see, I can't count. Goodness.
Wolverine in Japan. 3-word summary.
Yes. Okay. There's a comic series called X-Men First Class, but I don't know if it's related to the film. Also, this story takes place over the course of 6 months. Some people apparently do not know that and then wonder how Charles and Eric became so close in a few weeks. No, it's half a year. Half a year.
I mean, I didn't get a specific time frame. I didn't know it was precisely 6 months.
They don't tell you, but they do tell you with if you pay attention to the events that happen in the normal world of the film and put them together with actual dates because it actually happened. It's half a year.
Oh, good to know. Good to know. And hey, the German is actually good for once.
Yeah, I noticed that too.
Did they perhaps actually cast native speakers for this?
No idea. I have no clue.
Well, me neither.
Also, young Jarek has excellent chemistry. Nice. Nice. James McAvoy, who plays Charles Xavier, is Scottish. So another Xavier that's suddenly British with a very lovely accent. I mean, I suppose they already made the first one suddenly British. So
so the other one also has to be suddenly British.
Michael Fassbender is actually German, but he was raised in Ireland.
And he's handsome.
Yeah. And another one who doesn't get a German accent. I'm all for it. The German accent is horrible.
Yeah, all for it. And how many languages is he fluent in exactly?
Eric? Because I don't know about Michael, but Eric, too many.
Yes, Eric. Because German.
Yeah.
Then English, obviously.
Yes.
And I think he went to France.
Yeah, for the bank.
So French as well.
Where he pulled out the tooth.
Bank scene.
He pulled out the tooth. That was French. He also speaks Polish, he speaks Russian, Arabic, more. He's really impressive. He speaks so many languages fluently. And, so it would make sense that he doesn't have a German accent. Thank goodness. Not even a transatlantic one. Because the character knows so many languages, right?
Surprising.
But honestly, this film didn't do as well as it could have.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but what I do know is that there's a lot of inconsistencies. How hard, my dear writers, is it to keep things consistent? Come on, script writers, for goodness sake. This was meant to be a prequel in line with the first trilogy, and the first trilogy was already bad at keeping its little 3-course meal in line, but this one makes it so much worse. It's not a bad film, not at all, but it contradicts so many things. It's exhausting.
Yes, I have to agree.
And I have a little note on the beach divorce. I don't think Magneto being responsible for Charles's paralysis actually happens in the X-Men. It's implied in one or two of the... I think it's applied in one of the adaptions, but from what I remember of the comics, it might have been somewhere, but in the main version, not really. He's not really responsible for that. It's a rare thing. Like, there are different versions, and I mean, Professor X has been metronoming between wheelchair and walking too often, so there are like several causes for his paralysis, paralysis, because it's not a one-time thing, it happens a few times.
Comics.
But yeah, no, from what I remembered, Magneto was not really, sometimes, but not that often. Also another one for the beach divorce. Personally, I felt that the Eric Turns Magneto plot was rushed. Very rushed.
Yeah, he did turn to being Magneto pretty fast. That's
Yeah, they put in the work to foreshadow it and all that, but it was still rushed.
Yeah. Beach divorce.
X-Men Days of Future Past 2014. Yeah, this one was meant to bring the reboot and the original together, and they did that pretty well, actually. One sentence summary. The future is shit and we need to reset the timeline, so let's send Logan back in time and connect the reboot to the original trilogy. Yeah.
Yes.
Days of Future Past is a super old comic in which Kitty Pryde sends her consciousness back into the past to save mutant kind from a dystopian future where the Sentinels are hunting them. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an old comic, and they have kind of adapted it, actually. Not a single character has aged in 10 freaking years.
Because why would any character age here? We will get to ages later in the inconsistency
but this is the first one out of 3 instances. What I'm wondering, we see Eric in prison, plastic prison, glass prison. How do you get electricity or at least lights to work without metal? It sounds like something that might be possible with chemical reactions, but I wonder how. Like, how are the doors moving? How are the lights working? How do you do that without metal? I want to know that. Science. Tell me.
My first instinct was potato batteries, but to make a potato battery work, you still need to connect it with cables, and those contain metals.
Exactly. Anyway, no, I'm sure there are ways. It sounds like it could be possible with science.
Well, I haven't looked it up. I do not know.
Also, the bullet scene was interesting, because I think comic Magneto would have been able to stop them. I mean, they're probably not metal, but a cool scene either way, but yeah. Comic Magneto's powers, and they did show that later in the films, are not actually manipulating metal, but electromagnetic fields. Which has found some
Apocalypse.
Yeah, it has found some very interesting applications in the comics. But they showed us they only showed us in Apocalypse and never before that. And then even then they didn't really explain it. It was just like, it was such an odd thing because it was never necessary. Eric was just there destroying stuff, and it's just not important. No relevance.
No relevance whatsoever. Yeah, I remember when we first watched Apocalypse together, at that point you explained to me that his powers were actually manipulating magnetic fields.
I don't remember.
Because before that I didn't know.
I thought
his power was to manipulate metal, and I was like, huh? And then we're like, oh yeah, this is actually his power. And I went like, what?
Huh. Okay. Guess I did do that. But yeah.
Yes.
Electromagnetic. I mean, on one hand, his powers are really, really cool in the films, but on the other hand, they're not exactly as they are. This one, well, we have a very flawed Charles in this one. And I get that flawed characters it's a thing, and people want that, and people like that. and I mean Comic Charles is an asshole, but this Charles in this film does not feel like film Charles. It's like they took first class Charles, was also. I could forgive him for feeling out of character on the basis of being young and inexperienced. And then they took him and ran in the wrong direction. And then they stayed on that path for the other films instead of turning it around who the Professor X is supposed to become in the film franchise, because that guy mentioned last episode, Comic Charles is an asshole.
Hey.
It's perfectly in line with Comic Charles. Everything's in line with Comic Charles. But the first two films of the first original X-Men trilogy have a different characterization.
It seems I kind of forgot that and just focused on let's adapt comics, and then forgot, oh yeah, we had a different characterization in the first two films. Whoopsie.
Yeah, so old Charles and young Charles just don't fit together in the films. Well, I guess if you take the Last Stand Charles, it might. I guess.
Maybe.
But he also doesn't, it's just so weird. So it's not, actually it's like the first two films that Charles doesn't fit the rest. But since Last Stand is so bad, I don't want to accept that, because Last Stand is such a bad film. Yeah. No, old film Charles is less flawed than Comic Charles, but young Charles seems to be going the route of Professor X being a jerk, and it's also, I don't know how many times I have to say this, but it depends on the comic we're talking about, because
different writers.
This is exhausting. Comics are so exhausting.
That's why I don't read them.
Also, getting a bit more into the just general film issues I had. Why is Magneto an antagonist in every single film? I mean,
I would.
Yeah, he did start out as an irredeemable villain in the comics. He turned more complex over time because people wanted complex villains all of a sudden. Nowadays, it kind of changes between anti-hero and villain quite frequently. He's more or less capable of working with the so-called good side without messing it up, kind of. And it's like, it's all about nuanced, complex characters these days. And Eric in the films reverting to villain territory every single time, which is always way too fast, is it's just every time, without fail.
It's
every single film.
In my opinion, we need to see a bit more anti-hero and friendly Eric, just to get more Eric moments, honestly, so that we might just reluctantly team up against a common enemy, so that for at least a brief period of time you can be lovers again before you become enemies again. Just switch between the two a little bit, and not just make a 180 within like 2 seconds without proper setup.
I think what they forgot.
Yes.
The entire thing about Professor X and Magneto in the comics is that neither is completely right and neither is completely wrong, and they're both absolute hypocrites. And assholes.
The bunch of them. Hypocrites.
They're hypocrites and assholes, and neither is completely right or wrong. That's an entire thing. That's what the comic... Everyone wants to believe Professor X is in the right and Magneto's in the wrong, but that's not actually the case. And had they worked together, they could have accomplished so much more, and they do realize that.
Yeah.
Okay. And
they could have been great together.
There are some good fanfics where they realize that working together was the solution all along. Anyway, back to Days of Future Past. How does it make sense that Mystique's genes would be used as a weapon against mutants, because she only copies appearances and not X-gene abilities?
Yeah, she only copies the appearance and nothing else. So Darwin would have made more sense. He did adapt to survive, after all.
Yeah. I know the Sentinels were a comic thing, but I don't remember how they worked, unfortunately, so... Also, this film has a Rogue cut. It's nice. Rogue is boring. We don't care about her. Her comic counterpart was so much more badass, but I like the Rogue cut.
Yeah, but if you watch it on the official site, where I watched it, at least in our country, you don't get the Rogue cut, which I found kind of sad.
I mean, the DVDs should have it, but...
Yeah, they should.
Yeah, there's a Rogue cut.
But I don't have the DVD. I watched it on a streaming platform, and it didn't have the Rogue cut.
It is called Disney Plus. even though it's a Fox film, but Disney got the X-Men films.
They also got the Marvel films.
Not that we actually have Disney Plus, but sharing is
They also-
caring.
Sharing is caring. They also got the Star Wars films.
Disney still allows the sharing is caring because Netflix nerfed it.
I think Disney Plus also wants to nerf it.
Oh my gosh. Is nerfing the right word in that? I always forget because some people confuse me. Anyway, but no, it's just, it was the entire thing about Netflix sharing is caring. No, you're not allowed to do it anymore. So mean.
They got greedy for money.
So mean. I hate it.
Okay, back. Road cut.
No, not real quick. But also at the end, we get
road
another
cut.
randomly flash your eyes, strike a mistake for a plot that will never be explored, will be entirely discarded. Because, yeah, of course she will randomly flash your eyes just for the audience. And yes, of course we're gonna do that, even though we never take this plot anywhere. And then we get the last scene, which doesn't fit in any of the rest of the films, where Logan wakes up in the future. And the altered timeline Logan, we're assuming, just got erased now because old timeline Logan returns. The other one is gone now. He's just dead.
Yeah, this film just gave me questions more than anything. You know, that one included. Why did the future? And another question is also, why did the future not already change with the first events changed? Or were the changes too insignificant in the long run?
Presumably. Presumably.
But what did Logan even contribute after he helped the professor regain his peace of mind?
Well, that. And I mean, I suppose he informed them about the stakes, Charles and Eric. He was there.
Yes, he did that.
Butterfly effect, but actually not butterfly effect because that didn't work the first time. Because for me it was like, Logan has like accomplished his mission. The professor is now like not on that stuff anymore. He's like has regained his like mental abilities a bit. So even if Logan had died sooner, or if the connection had been lost, it probably would have played out the same because after that point, Logan didn't do much in the past. So all the dramatic death scenes were just put there for the sake of it. At least in my opinion. The main point of this film was to connect the two X-Men film generations and be dramatic and look cool.
Well, they did achieve that. So, good on them.
I think this film was actually decent. Pretty good. Especially compared to other films. I mean, Dark Phoenix. Twice.
Yeah. Compared to other films, this film is good.
I mean, for the fact alone that we got the old Cherrick and the young Cherrick, you know.
Yes.
And the scene in the airplane. The scene in the airplane where Eric gets really mad at Charles. I love that scene. Also, don't do it on an airplane, Eric. You could crash it.
Yeah, they nearly crashed because of that, but that was an emotional scene. Closing notes for this film. The pyramids were not built by aliens, but by mutants.
Or a mutant.
A mutant.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't know if they helped.
It makes sense. It makes sense. Yes.
Because maybe the one mutant only put the finishing touch on that. But pyramids were built by a mutant.
Yes. X-Men Apocalypse. We were talking about that very mutant now.
Yes.
Summary.
1 sentence summary.
They mucked up Apocalypse and Eric is having a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad, messed up day.
Poor Eric.
That's just the norm. Apocalypse. I know the character was a formidable enemy in the comics and later joined the Quiet Council for Krakoa, which Professor X and Magneto set up. He was a Thanos-level villain, so I'll come back to that in a moment.
Okay.
First scene, where we left off in the last one. Pyramids.
Pyramids.
But it's a Y. Why is it not pyramid? Pyramid.
Because it's pyramids.
English.
Pyramids.
Freaking English. What did you do? What was that?
That was just my mug. Don't worry. Nothing spilled.
I I heard a weird metallic echo, and I was like, what the heck just happened?
That was just my mind.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. It's just, it sounded very weird. Okay, so apparently ancient Egypt, because we're in ancient Egypt, had super advanced technology and fancy body armor and stuff. Which, in the comics it makes sense, but not in the film. Well, it kind of makes sense in the comics, but not really in the film. Because time travel, actually, Apocalypse met Kang the Conqueror, who's a time traveler in film.
Yeah, good. Yeah.
The pyramid in the film, in the beginning prologue scene.
Yes.
Which, at first I was like, okay, maybe they just build it as your standard sea level pyramid. And I was like, oh, maybe they didn't. In the Rebellion, they did it secretly. But sealing doesn't equal destroying, and especially not when you have such a large void underneath. So it must have happened in secret, but that would have been so obvious, and it makes no sense. And also, wasn't it established that Apocalypse built the pyramids, or did he just put the finishing touch on it, like you said? It makes no sense.
Yeah, it really didn't make any sense. It was way too easy to destroy that pyramid because Apocalypse or his close associates, people he trusted, should have looked over all the building plans and inspected the building, checked. But apparently they didn't.
It was such a big void. It was such a big void.
Maybe the void cat went num num num.
Num num.
Num num. Something I wondered in this film, are they supposed to be mutants already, or are we classifying this as magic powers, what we see in ancient Egypt? Because I refuse to believe that the mutant gene has been around for this long without any wars breaking out over it. We were made to believe that mutations only happened in the 20th century. Charles would have researched all past records for signs of mutants, because it's Charles. No way he would have missed something like this. They just ran out of ideas of where to get a villain from? Is that why?
Well, you are wrong, Cecilia.
Yeah, of course I am, and you are here to correct me.
I mean, ancient mutants have been a thing in the comics for a very long time. Azazel is one. Demon Lord.
Apocalypse. How am I supposed to know that if I haven't read the comics? Hello, Siren. Bye, Siren.
Apocalypse is one. Where do you think all the myths come from? Modern society is simply different. Also, well, comics, and also American. Also, before the films happened, mutant society was considerably larger, and their standing in society was considerably different. Comics and America.
Yeah, but comics and America.
Yeah, no,
that's all I need to know.
Things are a bit different in the comics, and the political stuff is a bit different. But yes, it happens, but it doesn't make sense. But it's comics and adaptations, and it's complicated. Okay, we are now
usual.
Another 10-year time skip. We're now 20 years. How convenient from First Class. So how much of an age difference do Alex and Scott have? Not that Alex has aged, or Hank, or Quicksilver, or anyone else. Also this is where you finally get electromagnetic field powers for Eric, but they are just for show. They don't actually mean anything. And I'm sure destroying cities and firing nukes into space won't have consequences, because why would it?
Why would it? Their electromagnetic field powers looked awesome. Give me more of that. Just give me more of Eric's powers, to be honest, because amazing fine control as well. Love to see that. Apocalypse. The story could have been so much more, but it wasn't. We got a generic villain that wants to dominate or destroy the world. Other than that, we know nothing about the character, Apocalypse.
Yeah. So, he was, for the film, he was horribly written.
Yes.
He also looks kind of ridiculous on screen and acts kind of ridiculous on screen. And I'm like, MCU managed to pull off Thanos. They're in the same boat.
Yes.
Why couldn't Fox somehow pull off Apocalypse? He was such an overpowered, intimidating badass in the comic. What happened? I mean, for one, they didn't flesh him out at all, literally and figuratively. And what even are his powers in this film? Because it's just it's such a. I mean, the comics are complicated and time travel shenanigans and alien science techno. And don't ask me, no, don't ask. But
Black alien
comic Apocalypse. You felt the stakes. He was an overpowered, intimidating badass. Thanos level villain, even worse, maybe. Film is chaotic, all over the place. His motivation is, there, I suppose. His plan is a work in progress. He's just boring. He's boring. He's not Thanos level at all. He should have been, but he's just boring. The entire film is boring. It was so boring.
They really messed that up. It was kind of boring, and like the only emotional and like somewhat good part in this film is Eric and his family, their deaths, and the animation in some points. But the
CGI. No, I mean that's just Eric's life. He's having a terrible, horrible, no good, very messed up, bad day.
Poor Eric.
Poor Eric. We have one last film for this one before we go to Deadpool.
The Dark X-Men and Dark Phoenix, or only Dark Phoenix? Is there a reason why Dark Phoenix is only Dark Phoenix and not X-Men Dark Phoenix? Because when I watched the film, it only had said Dark Phoenix.
Yeah, it's originally called that. They added the X-Men part later. I don't know why. I forgot to add the year. I think this was 2019. I could be wrong though.
I believe 2019 sounds about right.
Yeah, somehow I forgot to put the date there. Anyway,
one sentence summary.
Dark Phoenix Saga, but done badly again.
Nice. Well, not nice.
We got Genosha. Not that they ever explained how that happened. Or anything else between Apocalypse and Dark Phoenix, how that developed. No explanation. No.
Yeah, because why would they? They just left me there hanging, wondering, no information whatsoever. Because I haven't read the comics.
Well, it wouldn't have helped you. Because the films are not a faithful adaptation of any one line, right? They just choose and pick and whatever they want.
Bad film writer.
It's amazing.
Bad script writers.
It's amazing how they managed to screw up the same arc. Not once, but twice. And both times, it was at the end of the story arc they were trying and failing to tell.
And as you said before, the original comic part is apparently one of the best arcs?
I'm going to offend a lot of people if I say it's not better than what they portrayed in the film. I can see why it was such a big thing back in the 1970s, 80s. But we have come a long way since then, so yeah.
So it's not the Dark Phoenix arc is actually not one of the best.
The Dark Phoenix saga is one of the best comic story arcs of its time.
Yes.
Of its time.
Of its time. Yeah.
Because if I give you the comics now, first of all, you would not like the original Uncanny X-Men. And the Dark Phoenix saga is part of that run.
Yeah.
Yes.
Old.
It's all very, yeah. No, at the time, I'm sure at the time, like I can see it. At the time, it must have been really, really freaking awesome. The way they tied in, it was not a thing in the comics to tie in stories with each other leading up to it, have a longer arc, have it all pay off and all that. But that was in the 1970s, 80s.
A long, long time ago for human standards.
Yeah, the comic had been running for like 10, 20 years. And then, so it was a big thing back then. But for modern standards, like I said, I'm probably offending a lot of people here. But personally, not anymore. That does not justify messing it up twice in the films, though.
Yeah, no excuse.
And then Charles and Eric go off into the sunset together and they lived happily ever after.
In Paris, playing chess.
Genosha more like, but yeah, playing chess.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
Okay.
Nice.
Deadpool.
You know, I didn't know the Deadpool films belonged to the Fox X-Men when I first watched the first Deadpool film. So when some of the X-Men appear in that film, and the viewer is clearly supposed to know them, I went surprised Pikachu face and just wondered from where I was supposed to know them. Since I hadn't watched any of the X-Men films at that point in time, you only got me to watch the films later.
What a travesty. Good thing I made you watch them, because they're well, I wanted to say they're good, they're not, but like they're enjoyable.
Yes, they're enjoyable. So, yes, I suppose good thing that you made me watch them. Thank you.
Deadpool 2016. One sentence summary. Deadpool done right in an R-rated romantic comedy. I'm looking at you, Origins Wolverine. He is a character who is morally completely messed up, who murders and maims without conscience and never pretends to be a good person. And I, for one, love it.
Well, it's not only you. I love it as well. It's amazing. Deadpool is also swearing a lot, just like you, Nightshade.
Hey, I'm not that bad.
Yeah, not anymore.
Yeah, I have to hold back a lot for the podcast and while streaming, so it mellowed me out a bit. All I say is it's narrowed down to the F word these days because that one just slips through. But most of the other swearing just disappeared into the void.
Into the void, cat it went.
I need more R-rated shows. Deadpool 1 and 2 are among the top 5 highest grossing R-rated films. Despite the first one having a very low budget. I still prefer budget word-wise, but no, it's budget. Anyway, English. Very low budget, very high grossing R-rated film. Incredible.
Yeah, that surprised me a little bit. But it proves that low budget films can still do really, really well.
Yes, it did have such a low budget because no one expected it to actually do well. Shows you what they know about their own films. They did not expect it.
They know nothing. Nothing at all.
Oh my gosh. They put Stan Lee, who gets a cameo every time, right? That's just a thing. The MCU is not the only one who do it. They put him
X-Men universe as well.
He's a DJ in a fucking stripper club with actually naked people. Yeah, it's R-rated, so naked people are allowed, but they actually don't really do that in Blockbuster. Even R-rated ones, they don't actually do that completely naked. Like, wow.
Wow.
They put Stan Lee in there. Best Stan Lee cameo ever, hands down.
Hands down, yes. I mean, he's definitely old enough to be there.
Yes. I love that. He's just a DJ in a stripper club. So cool. So cool.
Yes.
Also, we get an actual faithful adaptation of a character for once. Goodness. Of course, he's not a carbon copy. Because comic writers, yada yada.
No.
Also, in the comics, he's not that slutty. But he is more unhinged in the comics. His mental health is... If you can believe it, the film version is in a better place mentally. And also more likable by far. Because the comic Deadpool was not meant to be a likable character. That's not his...
Deadpool is definitely likable.
His thing in the comics is that he is an annoying loser who gets on everyone's nerves and is very unhinged.
Wow.
That's his thing. And he fails at everything he does.
Aww.
Like getting together with the love of his life. More of that in a minute. Dearest Deadpool, if you want to hide bloodstains, and to everyone else as well, if you want to hide bloodstains, wear black. Black hides it so well that you can never tell whether you actually managed to clean it properly. It's a bit annoying, actually.
Yeah, it's a bit annoying, but yes, wear black if you don't want to see the blood. Because on red, you are still going to see the blood.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like red wine. You are still going to see it on red, you know.
Dark stains. Red wine is so hard to get out.
Yes.
I accidentally spilled it on white trousers of a friend of mine. They are not wearing. They haven't worn white since. I don't even know what they were thinking because they're more of a all black type. But yeah, I managed to spill red wine on that. I was not drinking the red wine.
Well,
I didn't. Yeah, it was their red wine that I spilled on them. Whoops. We were sitting at a table. That makes it even worse.
Don't drink red wine if you're wearing something white.
Don't drink red wine. Why would you drink red wine in general? Alcohol is just... Ethanol does not taste good. I don't understand humans. Ethanol does not taste good.
Well, you're not human, so...
But humans have told me it doesn't taste good to them either.
Well, it depends. If you have a nice, delicious cocktail.
I don't understand. So, love of Wade Wilson's life, Deadpool's life, during his torturous time under Francis, Wade entered a romantic relationship with the personification of death as a consequence of meeting her so often during his near-death experiences.
Ah, yes, Lady Death.
Mm-hmm. I told you about that when I explained the Thanos motivation thing from the comics. They didn't make Lady Death
about the existence of Lady Death.
I mean, the MCU didn't make her thing, so why would Deadpool do it? Yeah, he actually did want to die. I'm not sure about current Deadpool, but for the longest time in the comic runs, he just wanted to die so could be with her. Unfortunately for Wade, Lady Death made him immortal. Was it Thanos? Because he was jealous? I might be wrong, but I think Death cursed him first, then Thanos got him uncursed and later recursed by someone else. Or it was only Thanos cursing him and then uncursing him. Comics are so confusing. I'm not sure anymore. I don't remember. Anyway, somehow...
I can't tell you.
Somehow Wade got cursed to be immortal, but he also got uncursed and recursed, and I'm probably uncursed again. I don't know whether he can die right now or not. Whatever.
Whatever.
It was the whole thing of, like, getting rid of him, but not wanting him to be with Lady Death because Thanos was jealous, and, Anyway, the whole thing about being cursed was no matter how often he tries, Deadpool will never be able to die and be with the love of his life. Tragic. Like I say, he can't do anything right. That's just his thing. Also, why do I know more about Deadpool than the rest of the X-Men? Because he once bonded with the Venom symbiote, and that's how I got interested in him. More than once, actually. Among other symbiotes. Because symbiotes and Deadpool mix well, apparently.
Yeah, so of course you would like Nightshade. Like alien goo.
Yeah, like alien goo and R-rated, and he does never pretend to be a good person.
Yeah, he doesn't pretend to be a good person, so, well, it's fine for film.
Yeah, no, he's not Kirby. Yeah. He's not pretending to be a cute, adorable little thing that's actually a cosmic horror and terrible. I hate that thing. It's so disturbing.
I know, Nightshade.
It's disturbing. Giving me the creeps. If it were not pretending to be cute and adorable and innocent, I wouldn't mind. But everyone thinks this horror thing is a... Nah.
It swallows its enemies whole and steals their powers.
Deadpool 2, 2018. After a romantic comedy, we now get a family film.
Deadpool's a family film?
Deadpool 1 was advertised as a romantic comedy because it came out on Valentine's Day. Deadpool 2 was advertised as a family film, and it actually is a family film. Not in the way you think. Not just an R-rated one, you know.
Film?
Just
R-rated family film. Okay, that I can see.
Okay, summarize. Deadpool has a midlife crisis and there's time travel.
Because why wouldn't there be time travel?
There's a super duper cut, and yes, it is indeed called the super duper cut.
Well, of course it is. It's a Deadpool.
I watched it and I have no idea which scenes they added. Or cut in the other cut. No idea. What I found incredibly funny was the Logan figurine. It was so... I mean, in this case, the film Logan, but of course it's also the character, obviously. Because the film came out between Deadpool's 1 and 2. Also, with the third film being what it is, this intro scene has a whole new context now.
Yes, that is true. Oh. New contents. Is the Dead Logan music book just referencing what happened last in typical Deadpool fashion? Or does it mean timeline-wise Deadpool 2 plays after the film Logan? That's what I wondered the most when I saw that music box, you know?
Both. Neither. It's complicated. Deadpool 2 does not take place after the year 2029. We are not in the we're not 2029 or after, we're before that, so... also, you remember that little cameo with all the X-Men that was also in there?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I do. Young, Bald Charles, Quicksilver, Beast, Nightcrawler, Scott, and Storm are all in one room. When does this take place exactly?
In another timeline. Yes, multiverses here.
Ooh.
Congrats, you got it.
I'm learning.
Yeah, alternate timeline, of course. It's just... Yeah, it's a bit... On one hand, we get the reference to Logan, which takes place in the future of the X-Men stuff. But we also get the X-Men cameos, which shouldn't be happening after...
So Deadpool is just breaking the fourth wall again with that music
No, he's not breaking the fourth wall. He's breaking the universes.
Walls.
The timeline stuff. Yeah.
He's breaking
everything.
Stuff.
He's breaking everything. The main reason these films are regarded higher than the rest is because they aren't meant to be taken seriously. Does that make them better? Not actually, no. Not necessarily. Yes, but also no. But mostly yes. They're good. The first one is really good. They're good.
Yes.
But I want to see a serious superhero comic adaptation film that is actually good. Okay, the MCU had some really good ones, but I want an X-Men adaptation that's good.
Keep dreaming.
Wait, you have some fine. No, it's just, I don't know. There are some good ones, but do we have one that is really, really good as a comic adaptation? Not just doing its own thing with characters? Do we?
Since I haven't read comics besides like one Loki issue and like the Avatar: The Last Airbender comics, I can't tell you.
Side note, Vanisher. Obviously name. The Invisible X-Force member, if you remember him. Got electrocuted, but he should have been fine. He wasn't grounded. The high voltage power line shouldn't have done anything. Why did he get electrocuted? Explains this here.
Now I remember him. At first I wondered, is there actually anyone really there? Or do they just think there's someone there? But birds also can sit on those without being electrocuted. So it really shouldn't have done anything.
I'm not sure if crossing them because he had perhaps multiple at once made a difference. I'm not sure. But they're insulated and birds I don't get it. Also, did you notice the person we see when he gets electrocuted was Brad Pitt? Badly edited on, but Brad Pitt.
I didn't actually. No,
neither did I. Oh. Neither did I. But when I looked at the internet to ask about the electrocution, no one was talking about that. Everyone was talking about it being Brad Pitt. It was annoying.
I can imagine.
Yeah. Side note number 2. If I remember correctly, Comic Cable, the villain in this one, Cable, right? Cable, the badass Terminator dude.
Yes.
Comic Cable is the son of Cyclops and Jean Grey clone, who was sent to the future and then traveled back to the present, hanging in the past or something. It was something about fighting Apocalypse. He was also involved with the mutant Messiah, and wasn't the X-Force actually... The X-Force was actually Cable's group in the comics, not Deadpool's. Complicated. But yeah, Cable had like this whole thing of time travel and the Messiah and being the son of a clone and of Jean and this shit and the future and the past and his own and oh my gosh. But yeah, he was the leader of the X-Force.
And for me, it's just like...
And he got killed.
Comics.
I think he killed himself when he was killed and stuff. There was so much going on there.
This is just confusing to me, you know?
Yeah, that was the intention.
Well, you succeeded.
Okay. Deadpool and Wolverine 2024. Spoilers! By the time this episode comes out, the film has not been released just last week, but it's probably been like 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 months. Not that many.
Not that many, I hope.
But still, if you haven't seen it and want to see it, spoilers. If you don't care about spoilers, go ahead. I mean, I already spoiled it.
If you do care about spoilers and do not want spoilers, timestamps, you can skip this part.
Yeah, no, I mean, I love spoilers. I mean, I'm not sure, is the Cassandra Nova part a spoiler? Because I mentioned that last episode.
Well, too late now.
Summarized.
In one sentence.
Crowd-pleasing multiversal crossover shenanigans.
Yeah, you're definitely not wrong with that one.
I'm hungry.
Well, we will eat after this recording.
Can I get it?
Well, after the cooking.
Can I get a Deadpool to crunch on? He wouldn't even die. No, wait. If I eat him, would he live on in my belly?
Well, he would regenerate constantly, so it would be a permanent torture for him.
I mean, if I go the Eldritch eating route, he would be in a void. Human minds are not capable of comprehending that. He would be mentally broken eternally by being crunched on. Hey, a snack that never goes away. Eternal snack.
Yes, Deadpool would be an eternal snack.
Crunch. He regenerates. Okay, yeah. So, like I said, this film came out earlier this week. We just watched it. But the fun I was about to have revealing Charles' evil twin sister to Cecilia in the last episode.
Oh,
you know, the first 2 films, Deadpool films, were definitely better, but this one was a lot more fun. Even though it was a hot mess. It's catering so much to the fans that it lost sight of any substance it might have held plot-wise.
It's just really, really fun to watch.
Yeah.
I really liked it.
It's like Logan 2017 is a really good film, but I didn't enjoy it. And this one is not a good film, but Logan 2017 is a really good film that I did not enjoy. And Deadpool and Wolverine is not really good film that I did very, very much enjoy.
Well, sometimes it just is like that.
Yeah. Also, apparently Fantastic Four and Blade are getting MCU films now.
Good for them.
I'm excited for Blade, but on the other hand, can they ever top the OG Blade films?
We'll have to wait and see.
To be honest, I don't remember. Nah, they were a bit. Yeah. Anyway, they did get the original actors. I was so excited. They got the original actors for the Human Torch. Yes, Captain America's actor was once a Fantastic Four member.
Well, I do not have that much knowledge about the Fantastic Four. I know they exist, but I haven't really engaged in like films, comics. So at first I was like, "Oh, Captain America!" And then it was like, "Oh, not Captain America, Fantastic Four member."
That was awesome. The way they set that up, I loved it. And Deadpool was also It was awesome. Good throwback.
They set that up really well.
Yeah. Yeah. You got none of the other references, did you?
No, I didn't.
Elektra, that's her OG actress. Elektra is a film that's old, I think 2004 or something. Was a spin-off of the Daredevil film. Yes, there's a Daredevil film. She was actually in a relationship with the Daredevil actor, but they broke it off, which is why the reference that Daredevil's dead and she doesn't care is really fun. But yeah, Elektra. Her film was not well received. The Gambit, that never happened, even though he's one of the most popular X-Men. But yeah, there was a film in the plans, and the actor they got was the actor for that film, but it got scrapped. Which is fun. They could have gotten the other Gambit that they nerfed in X-Men Origins, but nope. Blade. Freaking Blade! That one was a bit before your time, Cecilia. The Blade trilogy came out 1998, 2002, and 2004. Little Cecilia couldn't watch R-rated films yet at that point in time.
Yeah, little Cecilia couldn't do that, no.
A bit too young to watch R-rated films when they came out. You could have watched them later, but I suppose it was never really on your radar.
I didn't.
Like Ghost Rider. Which means we're gonna watch Blade together.
I suppose we can do that.
I don't know whether we're gonna do an episode, probably not, but you have to watch Blade.
Yes, and you will join me.
And the latest Umbrella Academy season, which that happened. That's all I'm gonna say at this point. That happened.
Sharks.
Baby shark.
Oh no. I should have seen that coming.
Grandma shark. Grandma shark. I got an E-room. It's never gonna leave me alone.
No.
It's never gonna leave me alone. Oh my gosh. Yeah, watch the last season and form your own opinion, and then come back to us on some platform. Maybe do a comment under the implied. I don't know, whatever. Anyway, I'm back. Minor cameos in Deadpool and Wolverine were Sabretooth, one of the Sabretooths anyway. Toad, also Pyro from the original film trilogy. He's just visibly older. No, I didn't get that one. I realized that only in retrospect. The backstabbing second in command of Cassandra Nova is the Pyro from the original trilogy, the young Pyro, who joins Magneto. Yeah. It was lovely.
I would have missed that.
It was lovely bringing back the old, forgotten, iconic films. Blade especially, such a badass. Me and the old comic film watchers were frothing at the mouth. Me and the comic fans, you could tell exactly who in the cinema had watched the comics. We were also frothing at the mouth for all the comic references we got. The Wolverine montage especially, Deadpool of course as well, but do you want to know, I did make notes on that, but do you want to know some background infos on the Wolverines?
Sure, why not? I always love more background info.
Do you remember the short one?
The short Wolverine, yes.
Yeah. There's always been some gripe about Hugh Jackman being too big because Wolverine is on the shorter side of the X-Men.
Oh, well, Hugh Jackman isn't exactly short.
Yeah. He's not as short as the short king we got, but it was a direct reference to Wolverine being actually shorter. And the others, that's all stuff that happens. The one in the casino is, it's an It's an alternate identity he has, which is totally. He wears an eye patch and a suit, and that's definitely making him not recognizable to anyone because that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely not.
And all the others, there were so many of them, and the most iconic one was the one with where he was crucified on a pile of skulls. That one was super iconic. Yeah, that's a really infamous comic cover from some scene that happened in the comics and all that shit. And yeah, the Deadpool variants as well. There's just so many. We had some other, just lots of references in general.
Yes, lots of those.
Yeah, a lot of great jokes as well. There was so much fun. Even if you didn't know a thing about the universes and the cameos and the comics and stuff, there's so many references. Oh my god. The sheer amount of on-the-nose comic references is extreme in this one. Like I said, we could hear exactly which side of the cinema had read the comics. I could tell. We could tell.
20th Century Fox logo, like in the sand.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yeah, definitely more jokes, less serious scenes compared to the first two films. I had forgotten how serious the first Deadpool actually were compared to this one.
Yeah.
The plot, however, suffered greatly from all of that.
Yeah, you can't have perfect film. Well, perfect films are not, well. Anyways, enough about comic references, because did you know, Nightshade? The first Deadpool film came out only 3 days after Hugh Jackman had announced his retirement from his role as Logan, and that the film Logan would be the last time he played Wolverine. And then Hugh Jackman watched Deadpool with his family and decided he had to come out of retirement just to make a film with Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool. Because, well, apparently in some parts of Deadpool and Wolverine, you cannot actually tell whether it's Deadpool and Wolverine talking or if it's Ryan and Hugh talking. So that's nice because they, just like the Cherrick actors, have really good chemistry together on screen and off screen as well. They work well together. I'm glad Hugh Jackman came out of retirement for this. And now he has to do this until he's 90 years old.
Cool.
Yeah.
You know, this film felt like a love letter to Fox to me.
Yeah, a bit.
I mean, the buried Fox logo. Damn. No, it's just odd coming from a Disney Marvel film. But all the references and throwbacks and connections and whatnot, it just felt like a love letter to the Fox films. All of them. Not just X-Men, all of them.
All of them. I mean, why not, you know? Why not? They did so many films for this franchise, so let's give them a little bit of love as well.
Okay, now, fast. Because time's running out. Inconsistencies. Back to X-Men.
Okay.
Who cares about Deadpool?
Okay,
X-Men. Inconsistencies. No one ever ages. Mystique has her mutation, but the same cannot be said for anyone else.
Yes.
Also, Wolverine is potentially 100 years older than Professor X, maybe even 200 years older than. And people seem to frequently forget that in universe and outside, which what?
Isn't Logan like 200 years old?
Yeah, something about that. Something around there. People keep forgetting that he's super old. Yeah, he doesn't have the memories.
But still.
Yeah. I have a more orderly inconsistency list in the second part of this, but first, stuff. Inconsistent. You know, we can be inconsistent with the inconsistencies.
Yes.
I know a lot of comic fans dislike how much their films deviate from the source material, but that is not what makes them bad, in my opinion. They're not even all that bad. There are quite a few more or less good installments, and some were so-so, some were so-so, and some were really bad.
Some are good, some are decent, some are bad.
And adapting comics to live action is always a bit. Do we want a yellow spandex Wolverine? Actually, yes, we do. Thank you, Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yes, we do, with the mask included.
I had written it down before we went and saw the film. I was like, do we want a yellow spandex? I was like, yeah, actually, yes, we do.
Oh, yes, actually, we do.
We really do. We do. It was so good. Anyway, the nature of the Marvel comics is, it's comics, Marvels, it's inconsistent writers. You know that well.
Yes, I know.
And comics are a different medium with different freedoms and limitations compared to live action series and blockbuster movies. It's always an adaptation. In adaptation, we have covered this before. Sandman for one, and other stuff. Adaptions do not have it easy because different medium has different needs, right? But you can do it well. we have adaptations that have proven this, that it can be done well. The first 2 films of the original trilogy are really good. The third one, oh gosh.
Well, yes, we covered that.
Well, part of that is because the director changed. Part of that is a lack of setup for a very big comic plotline, and we never got to care about anyone other than Wolverine and Charles and Eric. The original trilogy is really different also from the kind of comic superhero films that we get these days. MCU, case in point. Somehow everything's MCU these days. There are other films.
Yes.
And MCU is not the only thing that exists these days. Anyway, it's actually really nice going back. I mean, they're by no means perfect. They're just unique. And I like it. I enjoyed them a lot when I watched them in preparation for this episode. Most films made in that in the MCU, pre-MCU time, you know, they were really unique. Blade. Oh, I miss that. Ghost Rider. Why do I want to say Ghostbuster? Ghost Rider. Anyway. Ever since the MCU really went off, all new comic superfilms are generic, high-quality visuals and acting, but generic plot feels the same for every single one. They even start looking the same after a while. Unless you really care about a particular character, they're all the same these days.
They don't feel original anymore. They're just for money grabbing, really.
And the older ones do not feel like that. Everything's about money.
There's actual love for filmmaking.
Yeah, everything's about money always and forever, but they don't feel like they are made for money grabbing. I like the way the MCU set up Endgame, but I also enjoy films standing on their own or being a short series focusing on the same characters. But it's just so extremely inconsistent. And it's hard to really get into them as a whole. Because world building, storytelling, directing, music, quality, everything is so inconsistent with these films.
I mean, I went into this expecting it to be inconsistent. We have 13 films and time travel and all that. Contradicting events are just likely if you have like that amount. We got prequels as well, and those tend to have continuity errors for some reason. Turns out the characters' ages are also affected by this continuity errors. Which I didn't expect, to be honest, that character ages are included, but I really should have known better. But the sheer amount of inconsistencies still took me a little bit by surprise.
Yes, you're supposed to view it as one universe. Yes, there's a split in Days of Future Past, but it erases the old timeline, so it's supposed to be one universe. It just does not work. And let's ignore how the MCU changed the series, the scene, you know, of comic superhero stuff.
Yes.
Was it so hard to keep things consistent at least a little bit?
Apparently, the answer to that question is yes.
It's not like the X-Men films were the first of their sort. It's not like the MCU was the first to form a continuity. It was the first to do it on such a huge, insanely huge scale, yes, but not the first in absolute terms. But Fox didn't even try with the X-Men. And it's not like these films work as standalones either. They don't work as standalones.
No, they really don't.
That makes it worse. And there's no end goal, no, which kind of fine, I suppose, but there is no real change. It always starts with the same fundamental issue, mutants being outcasts. Nothing ever changes about that, no matter how many big fight sequences we get. And Genosha and all that. Nothing ever changes. It's always the same. And Eric going, Eric going villain route. And, I mean, that's what they made the X-Men to be about, right? Being born different, being outcast, trying to show the world that they don't deserve to be hated for something that isn't their fault, which, analogy to other things.
Yes.
And that's, it's there, somewhere in the background of every film, never changed, never really challenged and explored in depth over the course of however many decades the film span. It's always somehow, it always ends up being about saving the world instead, which apparently doesn't help their case in the eyes of the world no matter how often they do it or how much time passes.
Sad. Just sad.
We have so many films. And the ones that are regarded as the best are X2.
The second film.
Logan, which was meant to be in a different. They specifically set it up in a different universe because it doesn't work. But Logan is about sending off Logan, and that's why it works, you know? Because it's never. But that one was never meant to fit in. It's a good film. Deadpool is an outlier in the entire franchise. Days of Future Past is fairly good in First Class, but it's like First Class didn't do well because despite being good, it contradicts everything. And Days of Future Past does its job well, but you know, it's yeah. Okay, I have more random stuff before we get into the timeline issues. Let's go. We never get to see the X-Men as a team. It's always Wolverine getting shit done, and everyone else just tags along. But the X-Men are supposed to be a team.
They're not just supposed to be Wolverine and sidekicks?
No. Matter of Wolverine, his amnesia, super inconsistent. Everyone will notice that. It's always a toss-up what he can remember and what he cannot.
His origin story also contradicts what we learn about his adamantium skeleton in X2. He was forced into it and then made to forget, but he volunteers in Origins and only loses his memory at the very end.
Hush, Origins was bad enough as it is.
And the entire Japan stuff as well. He shouldn't remember most of that.
Yeah.
He shouldn't remember being in Japan.
Yeah. We also never learn how he gets his adamantium claws back between Wolverine and, Days of Future Past, technically, or Logan, depending on which one you... It's just never explained.
I mean, yes, I watched them in release order, so yeah, I noticed that. It's, how did they, regrow? How? Explain. Also in First Class, Cerebro is built, but the builder is different from what is stated in the original X-Men trilogy.
Suddenly it's Hank. It's not supposed to be Hank.
Yes, because Charles said that Eric helped him build Cerebro. They alluded to the past friendship in X-Men, which was so nice.
Which is also how Eric knows how to, redo the Cerebro stuff in X2. Because he built it with Charles. He knows how it works.
Yes, he built a replica for, the enemy, because the information was forced out of him, so he had to have all the information.
Yeah, Stryker was able to build a replica based on the information, and then Eric was able to, rewire it so they could target the humans and stuff. It's just...
Yes. It's like we were robbed of a precious bonding moment of them building it together.
I have no idea who built it in the comics. I have no idea. I do not remember. Okay. Just saying that. I do not remember what that was in the comics.
I would have liked more bonding time for Cherik and not Beast having to explain how Cerebro works to the ones who actually were supposed to have built Cerebro in the first place.
Yeah. Good. Yeah, Mystique, we mentioned that, can only shapeshift, not copy DNA mutant abilities. So where did the Sentinels get that ability from? Mystique, also, she had, randomly flashing her eyes, impersonating Stryker at the end of the day that never got, no. He's only in the hands of the real Stryker and Apocalypse, no explanation given.
Yeah, never happened, apparently. Just swept under the rug. Nothing to see here, nothing to see.
Okay, more specifically about the timeline conflicts. Because the most issues stem from the timeline. And no one ever ages.
Well, that too, yes.
Technically, there's supposed to be 2 timelines. One got erased, so technically we are in one universe. But no, this is 4 to 5 different universes, if not more.
Too many.
Technically, every film is its own universe. But none of them are standalones. The original trilogy, First Class together with the the reboot, right? Are obviously 2 different ones because they don't really work together, even though they were supposed to. And everything is supposed to fit in there. But it, it doesn't. It doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
So we have Deadpool separately, which
Yeah.
It never really expected that to go anywhere. Logan, the film, is its own one, which, to my knowledge, has been confirmed as a vaguely alternative future with its own Earth number and all that. Which makes at the very least 4.
Okay.
Oh. Well.
Too much.
And then we get out of the ages are one thing. The double characters are another one. So many double characters. And there are so many characters they could have chosen from in the comics. So many. Why do they keep making duplicates instead?
They don't.
It's
they just want to recycle the same ones apparently because why not? It's they're too lazy to pick out others from the comics, it seems. So yeah. I noticed an age difference in Scott Summers,
Mm-hmm.
who was rescued by Wolverine in his origin story, and an adult in the original trilogy, and a kid that is 20 years younger than his brother in the alternate timeline.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Ages?
Uh-huh. Sabretooth? He was kind of a beast who didn't know his own brother in the first X-Men film. In Origins Wolverine, he's now an amalgamation of two different characters, and he looks different, and different actor, and everything is different. Although Deadpool referenced the feral version as Wolverine's brother in the third Deadpool. That was a nice touch.
Yeah, that was
He's
nice.
allowed to do that.
Deadpool's always allowed to do that.
Yeah, Hank McCoy in his human beast version, super inconsistent. Also his appearance and what he's super inconsistent. Moira McTaggart, we got her as an CIA agent in her 30s in 1962, First Class. We also got her as a Scottish scientist still in her 30s in 2006, The Last Stand.
Yeah.
Professor X gets disintegrated and apparently transfers his consciousness to a brain-dead body who happens to look exactly like him. Is apparently his twin like, what? And also paralyzed? And everyone just ignores that. They just ignore that he died completely.
They never explained that in the films at all. Like, Charles is a major character, and this should be explained because it's supposed to be meaningful and impactful. There was apparently an explanation by the director of Last Stand that Charles's consciousness latched onto the body of his twin brother who was born brain dead. But why would this body of his twin brother still be around? If he was born brain dead, then why keep the body alive for like 80 years? How did the body even grow up into an adult and old man when the brain is dead? Does it even scientifically work?
I doubt modern medicine was advanced back in, 1940? 1940s. Oh my gosh. If Charles was born circa 1940 and Eric circa 1930, that means there's a 10-year age difference between Charles and Eric.
Oh, I didn't expect that, to be honest. I assumed it was like 2-3 years, maybe.
I mean, there might be even bigger age difference in the comics. Might also even less. Might also be reversed. Hard to tell with all of the retconning. We can pinpoint Eric's age thanks to the Holocaust, but Charles is complicated. So it might not actually be 10 years. I mean, no one ever ages anyway. Who knows?
True.
But if you Google, just simply type when they were born, there's a 10-year difference.
Interesting.
Back to the resurrection. I believe it was supposed to be a random brain-dead man, and Charles transferring his consciousness made the body slowly adapt to his genetics, which includes his X gene, which is how he can do his telepathy, and also the paralysis. But at some point it became Charles' twin instead. Or maybe I got that from reading too many fanfics.
Well, you do read a lot of fanfic.
It just makes more sense. If it was a random brain-dead man, and Charles transferring his consciousness made it adapt to him, his original genetics, you know?
But then why is Moira there? And,
well, we get two Moiras, and they are
different.
They have different roles, and everything is. And they were
So random rich old man that happens to be brain dead and being kept alive.
They were doing it was a study in ethics, wasn't it, about the brain dead and transferring your content? It was just they were working on that as scientific partners.
Oh,
that was a scene we get. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. On the topic of Charles, what about his paralysis? Because First Class tells us it's because of the bullet Eric redirected. In Origins Wolverine, he's old and bald and using his powers, but is still walking.
He's also walking and mentally talking in the collected where they collect Jean and the flashback of Last Stand. He's
that's true as well. It's in Days of Future Past, he's walking because of the serum that suppresses his powers. So that makes sense, but then he uses his powers and is still walking, and that does not make any sense.
I mean, that happened before First Class. Like I said, First Class contradicted so much stuff. I mean, it's comic accurate.
Yeah, you told me he swings back between walking and not walking like a pendulum. Oh, I remember.
Yeah, wheelchair, no wheelchair, paralysis this, no paralysis that. Professor X can't decide how it happened, nor whether it will last.
Random. Just random.
Who else have we
Toy,
got?
of course.
Bolivar Trask is quite different in The Last Stand and Days of Future Past. That's a huge difference.
Well,
Colossus, I can forgive on the grounds of putting Deadpool in a different universe, even though it's not supposed to be. We got 2 Emmas, telepaths with diamond skin. Young girl in Wolverine in the 1970s, 80s, and then an adult woman in the 1960s.
Yes, definitely makes sense. Yes.
Yeah. Many more. So many continuing theories, most of which could have easily been avoided, very easily been avoided. Some are understandable, but the X-Men films are just ridiculously inconsistent. I mean, unnecessary 10-year time skips during which no one freaking ages and dozens of double characters when the source material has hundreds available. Absolutely unnecessary.
Well. Yes. Yes, it is absolutely unnecessary.
And then we've reached the end of what was supposed to be 1 episode, which was impossible.
Of course it was impossible.
Thanks for watching.
Films, comics.
Thanks for watching. If you managed to watch it, thanks for watching.
If you made it this far, thanks for watching.
As always, you can find us on Extra, Spotify, and YouTube at Toffees. You can find me on Twitch and Instagram at neitshayd. I play games on Saturdays, sometimes Sundays with Cecilia. I'm usually there. She's usually there somewhere in the background. I post random art on Instagram whenever I find the time, which is not that often, unfortunately.
Yeah. So if you enjoyed this episode, leave us a comment. What did you think of Deadpool and Wolverine?
They will never let Jackman go now. Not until he's 90. By the way, the audience, how many references did you get? How many references did you get?
And how do you think Marvel will handle the X-Men going forward? It's also an interesting question.
Yeah, good question. I mean, I'm looking forward to the Blade films if we get those.
Well,
Blade.
Well.
The freaking vampire hunter.
I have to watch that.
He's so cool. Oh, also, sorry, need to derail the outro now. I don't know if you remember, there was this, in Deadpool Wolverine, there was a scene where Blade... Where Blade went, I don't like you, and Deadpool went, you never did. That was a reference, because Ryan Reynolds played a role in the first Blade film, and he pissed off the actor of Blade. And the Blade actor never... That was a reference to that, because the Blade actor has the actor of Blade, I don't know what his name, he's never liked the actor of It was... I didn't realize that. It just when I watched the first Blade film a few days ago, and I was like, wait a second. Wait a second.
Okay, yeah, I didn't know that. No,
that was fun. See, another reference. It's just there's so many good references in there.
Yeah, the Deadpool and Wolverine is full of references, and it's amazing.
The story's not good, but it's a crowd pleaser. It's so fun.
Yes, it's still fun to watch.
Okay, next. Maybe our
flag means death, the gay pirate rom-com?
Our death means flag, definitely.
Definitely.
Yes, probably next.
Probably, maybe, we will see. The audience will see.
Until then.
Well,
bye.
Bye.